Egypt is always keen on exchanging culture between itself and other countries because this boosts the international relations between Egypt and these countries.
Egypt's Supreme Council of Culture and External Cultural Relations Sector, along with Embassy of India in Cairo, organized a symposium entitled India-Egypt Cultural Relations under an initiative called Cultural Relations of the Ministry of Culture, where His Excellency Ambassador of India to Egypt presented his address on India-Egypt cultural relations.
Well, India and Egypt have, of course, very close civilizational links. And in recent years, the bilateral relations have improved dramatically. One of the very interesting aspects is the great warmth and cultural contacts between the people. And today's symposium was basically aimed at increasing awareness of the various aspects of Indian culture which appeal to the Egyptian people. I think what came out in today's seminar was India's great tradition of tolerance, of how India is an outstanding example of unity in diversity, where people from different religious backgrounds, speaking different languages, of different castes, of incredible diversity, they are all able to stay together in peace and harmony. I think that was a unique lesson which countries around the world need to follow. Well, I think, as several people said today, that many Egyptians and Indians look alike. And one of your professors of Urdu, Egyptian professor, he said that when he goes to India, everyone considers him to be Indian, and he has a very difficult time explaining or convincing people that he is Egyptian. So, the people look alike. And then I think both Indians and Egyptians are tolerant. We have generally lived with other people in harmony, in peace. India has a lot of soft power in the world, and I can see that in Egypt also. And India is generally regarded as a benign country, not as a country which wants to harm other countries. Now that a large number of people have been vaccinated, I think we will start seeing Indian cultural troops visiting Egypt. What we are also trying to do is to identify local talent, local resources, because there are many Egyptians who can sing Indian songs, movie songs, who can do Indian dance. So we will try and utilize them also. Well, we've had a number of high-level visits which were exchanged. President Sisi visited India in 2015 for the India-Africa Forum, and then he also paid a state visit to India in 2016. And a number of ministers from both countries have visited each other. So one of the objectives will be to restart some of the ministerial visits which could not take place because of the pandemic for the last 1.5 years. So that will be one of the objectives. So I hope that with a large number of vaccinations taking place in India and hopefully in Egypt in the next few months, we can have more exchange of delegations.
On the sidelines of the symposium, His Excellency Ajit Japut, Ambassador of India to Egypt, inaugurated a photo exhibition documenting the Egyptian-Indian relations since hundreds of years.
I think there is a lot of commonalities and synergies between the Egyptian personality and the Indian. Both have fought their way through the future. They have old history and old civilization that have rendered to the world community a lot of values and traces of culture and science. I think Egypt and India are both are building momentum towards the future to the people from the third world. Successfully, India has become among the most important ranked nations in many fields, but what join both countries are many, and tonight at the Ministry of Culture we are very grateful to Minister Ines Abdeldaim, who gave us this opportunity to talk about the commonalities that we have talked about in the personality, in the history, in the civilization as two riparian nations to rivers like the Ganges and the Nile. Both India and Egypt have brought to the world many values. Who can forget the principles that the Egyptian civilian and peaceful revolution of the founder of the nation, Shah Zaghlul Pasha, and this of Mahatma Gandhi in India, and the episode of leaders like Nasser and Nehru, who have brought the movement of non-alignment and independence of the third world. Both India and Egypt definitely have contributed to the well-being of humanity through the principles and the foundation of the liberation movements. Today, we are not talking about history and we are talking about the present and the future, where India and Egypt have accomplished a lot of achievements, and I'm sure that the bonds that exist between the two countries reflects itself today between President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Both have decided to move further on the steps of the founder fathers of these relations.
Hundreds or even thousands of different varieties of the Indian handicrafts that will touch your soul and takes you to a dazzling journey.
The camera of our program is always going after the cultural events that are taking place in Egypt. Let's watch the following segment.
Today we are gathered to celebrate the 7th International Day of Yoga.
In celebration of the 7th International Day of Yoga, the Maulana Azad Center for Indian Culture, affiliated with the Indian Embassy in Cairo, organized a special event at the Child Center for Civilization and Creativity, or the Child Museum in Heliopolis. The event is organized in cooperation with the Egyptian General Sports Federation and the Egyptian Kabaddi Federation.
Well, yoga originated in India. It was written about in our ancient scriptures, which were written thousands of years ago, 3,500, 4,000 years ago. And many people used to practice yoga. But I must say that it's only after Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been elected, that he has really worked very hard to popularize yoga among Indians. And I think yoga was not so widely known. It was known, but it wasn't being done in such large numbers. For instance, I myself learnt yoga in my 30s, and I learnt it in Bangladesh. So I think he has done a lot, our Prime Minister, to really encourage millions and millions of people to take up yoga, and it has now become extremely popular. Yoga is one of the very few ways in which you can combine physical fitness with maintaining mental strength, improving one's concentration, and also being positive. So regular practice of yoga is a kind of preventive health care. They say that if you do yoga regularly, you can prevent diseases like diabetes, hypertension, or even you can manage them to some extent. It also helps in developing one's concentration, and some people say even in remaining young, you look younger. And the best thing is that you do not require any equipment. If you are, say, a swimmer, you have to go to the swimming pool. Now the swimming pools are closed because of the pandemic, but yoga only requires a mat, and you can do it at home at any time.
Ministry of Culture is always keen on preserving heritage in Egypt. Egypt, the country of civilization, the place where everything started in the world.
Within the activities of the 30th session of the Citadel International Festival for Music and Singing, which is organized by the Cairo Opera House headed by Dr. Megdi Sabir, the day's activities also witnessed an international participation of the Indian dance troupe Luna Podar, which presented several artistic tabloids that combine kinetic performance, music and singing, and belong to the Kathak dance. It embodied part of the local folklore and narrated a number of folk stories and local legends, including Vandi, Matarm, and Ikata.
Yeah, I'm Luna Podar. I'm an Indian classical dancer. We are from India, and it's a great privilege for us to perform in front of brother and sister of Egypt. Oh, it's a historical country. I mean, it's from very childhood we're like a dream to come in Egypt. We had a tour in Europe, so we danced together, three of us, Egyptian dancer and flamenco dancer and me, Kathak dancer, because it's our dance from Indian. We call Kathak. My dance from name is Kathak. So it's very rhythmic, and footwork is very similar to with them, rhythmically and gestural sometimes, and also the Abhinaya. It means expressions. So we dance together. Music is an international language always, because if I am not saying anything, I can tell you everything in with my expression. So that is dance.
The Citadel International Festival for Music and Singing comes annually to give artists an opportunity to exchange artistic talents in a very enchanting Oriental atmosphere.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are still with you following the cultural movement taking place in Egypt. Please stay tuned for the coming segment.
People identified themselves as belonging to a subcaste from a certain part of a certain state. We have a target, of course, the pandemic has.
Within the framework of the celebration of India's 75th Independence Day, the Maulana Azad Center for Indian Culture in Cairo, affiliated to the Embassy of India, is organizing a celebration. On this occasion, the center holds a national Indian song competition and an exhibition of paintings for the participants in the competition entitled India at its 75th Anniversary. His Excellency the Ambassador of India, Ajit Gupta, along with participants in the competition and embassy officials, attended the event.
I loved Egypt. I moved to Egypt from Bombay in 2014, and yeah, I loved it, and I love the people, I love the place. Everything of Egypt is, I just love it, and the people, everything over here. And it was been a very good stay for us for the last 7 years. Especially the people are more or less similar to what we have in India. Like if you consider the structure and the people, the faces and everything, like not in language and music is different, but the people are very genuine, very honest, and I like their culture, and they're very obedient and very soft speaking, and I have many Egyptian friends, and very nice people, very interacting with them is very nice.
I participated in both the drawing competition and the singing competition, and the reason I participated is my big love for India. First, it was through movies, then reading, and then when I joined Maulana Azad Center and I knew about the culture more, and I joined and participated in more competitions, not only this. So that's why my love for India is always growing bigger and bigger.
So with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program Culture Magazine. I hope you've enjoyed being with me. Please wait for me in the next episode. Until then,